Chairman. And thank you again, Mr. Secretary, for appearing before us. I want to build off a little bit about Mr.
Would the
Green.
gentleman move the microphone up? Yeah, thank you.
To hold it, I guess. I want to build off what Doyle and Green both talked about with Nettle and also your CCS. The backdrop of my question is going to have to do with that. There are folks that will contend, and maybe justifiably, that some of climate change involves CO2 emissions. Not going to disagree there is climate change. The question, I think, is how much is man-made. You with me on?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, if you could have.
How much of it is man-made? So I just looking at a chart that we've put together, because the variable is the amount produced by man. And in this chart, you see that almost 70% comes from fossil fuels of the energy produced. Now, the second chart shows that very little is being spent in research in fossil fuels. And if that indeed is the problem, if fossil fuels is the problem, I don't understand why there's a disconnect between that and the research with that. Because you can look at it, the research dollar is only around 18%. But more specifically, for Nettle, the fossil energy research has been cut by over 15%. And importantly, the comment that was raised over there, the carbon capture, one of the keys to the future of using fossil fuels, and under some of the regulations that are being issued by the EPA, they've cut the research money in carbon capture by 16%. They've cut on carbon storage by 26%. If we're serious about trying to include fossil fuels in our energy matrix, I think someone's being disingenuous about their interest in all of the above, and rather there truly is this war on coal. So do you think the President is deliberately trying to discredit or diminish the use of coal in America?
Again, in terms of the R&D numbers, for example, again, I respectfully feel that this does not give the full picture. I mean, this administration is unprecedented in its investments in coal, in CCS in particular, CCUS, with $6 billion.
Why do we see cuts of 40 and 40-some%?
But $6 billion in CCUS, and right now an active loan program solicitation of $8 billion for fossil fuels generally. I can't get into the specifics of some of the initial proposals. It's a rolling, there'll be more proposals.
Mr. Secretary,
but there is coal in
you can
there.
appreciate we have that 5-minute drill. We have limited ability to ask enough questions here, but my focus again is over Nettle, is providing increased research dollars into Nettle. And I think it sends a message to the laboratories, both in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, that we're serious about them, whether that's a chemical loop, whether that's the fracking techniques and all the things that have been developed at Nettle, that they'll continue, that they can count on it, that their employment is secure. I think it also sends a message, if we put the proper amount of money in Nettle, we're sending a strong message to the coal miners all across America in the coal fields that their jobs are secure, that there is a future for coal mining. And it just eliminates the uncertainty. I use that backdrop as for Nettle, but also if we continue this attack on coal and fossil fuels and not put the money into the research, if we decarbonized America, do you really think the health of the world will improve that much if America alone, by itself, were to not burn fossil fuels? Do you think the health of the world would be better?
Well, first, let me say I will go back and look at the Nettle program specifically. Number two, as I mentioned earlier, things like methane hydrates, I think we tripled, which will be a Nettle interest. Third, on the last question, we all recognize that obviously the United States alone cannot change the trajectory. But what we do is very, very important, and I think, and the President
But
feels
the
that
other
we
nations
will show leadership here.
But, Mr. Secretary, the other nations aren't following us. Germany is building more coal-fired powerhouses. So my message is, until we get a global unanimous effort to try to do this, why do we continue to attack our coal industry and diminish it and cause uncertainty with it? I'm past my time. I'm sorry. And
Again, I would just say
Go
that
back
we're
up.
making unprecedented investments in coal, huge in scale.
Gentleman's time has expired. At this time, I recognize the gentleman from New York, Mr. Engel, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you very much,